Okay, we are moving on to the second part of Unit 4, and we're going to talk about the distributive property today. What you can do after today, you can use the distributive property to simplify numerical and algebraic expressions. So it's another property. It's aligned with the properties we did yesterday. And when we say distribute in math, to distribute out of math, we multiply. This first is distribute. I don't know why I put that there. To distribute out in math, you multiply. And you probably remember this from last year. But it gets a little more intense with integers and rational numbers because there's fractions involved too. So here's the step. You multiply the first term by what's outside it, multiply the second term by the same number, and simplify if needed. That means combine like terms. So I'm going to show you the process. 6 parenthesis 30 plus 4. Notice how the 6 is sticking to the parenthesis. Do you visualize that? Mm-hmm. And yesterday we had this. Mm-hmm. Do you see the difference? Yes. This means that you're just adding. It means that you can combine your 6 and 4 to find that fast path. But not, when it's sticking, it means it wants to go inside. It's like face planting to the number group. So we need to let it go inside, and that's when we know we distribute. If it's sticking to the parenthesis, you distribute. So this would turn to 6 times 30 plus, because there's a plus there, 6 times 4. 180 plus 24 is 204. Now we use distributive property to find fast, mental math, fast facts with multiplication as well. 7 parenthesis 20 plus 3. The 7 is sticking to the parenthesis, so that tells me I need to distribute. So I go ahead and do it. 7 times 20 plus, because there's a plus inside, 7 times 3. 140 plus 21, 161. Notice I'm using the order of operations within this as well. And last example, the 3 is sticking to the parentheses, so that says distribute. 3 times 20 plus 3 times 5. 60 plus 15, 75. Okay, algebraic examples work the same way, except you have to take into consideration like terms. Here the 3 is sticking to the parenthesis, so I distribute it. To distribute in math, you multiply. So 3 times x is 3x, plus 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now it's on the other side, just trying to trick us up, but it's still sticking to the parenthesis. So I distribute. 3 times x is 3x, plus 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, another one. There's just lots of examples here. 7, now the 7 is sticking, so it means distribute. So it's 7 times 2x plus 7 times 1. I'm expanding it. You didn't have to expand it, which is 14x plus 7. Remember, you can't combine these because they don't both have an x on them. For tomorrow and for today, some of them are going to get a little messy because you're going to have a lot of negative signs. Change all minus to plus a negative. It's annoying, I get it, but it helps you in the end. It's going to help you keep things together. So, distribute your 7. 7 times x is 7x, plus 7 times negative 5 is a negative 35. And then you would just rewrite it. Again, I'm going to plus a negative, distribute. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 9 times a negative x would just be negative 9x. Hey, guess what I can use now? The commutative property, and I can get my x term first. So now it will be negative 9x plus 36. And that is my final expression. Not equation, it's an expression, because it doesn't have an equal sign. Now we're going to do what we did yesterday with our properties, where the purpose of the properties allowed us to calculate fast mental math facts. The thing with the distributive property is you break numbers into their place values. So you're going to break numbers up into their place values and then multiply, actually distribute through. So if I wanted to know 7 times 23 quickly, I'm going to break it up into its place values. This is really 7 times. I have a 20 and I have a 3. See how I did that? I broke it up into the tens and the ones. There's 20 tens or 2 tens and 3 ones. Distribute, 140 plus 21 is equal to 161. Now I'm going to do this smoothly where I don't have to over-explain, but just show you how it does really work quicker this way. 6 times 47, I can break this up into 6 times 40 plus 7. 6 times 40 is 240, plus 6 times 7 is 42, 282. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking that number inside and breaking it apart so I can calculate the facts much easier. Again, 4 times 37 would be 4 times, there's a 30, and there's 7 ones. 120 plus 28, 148. You see what I'm doing there? I'm breaking the number up, distributing the outside number, combining them together. 9 times 40 plus 2, which is 9 times 40, 360, plus 9 times 2, 18, 378. So that's the actual application of distributive property. You can use it to find product of multi-digit numbers quickly. Okay, I'm going to give you a visual representation of the distributive property. What you need to know, look at this little key that I screenshotted for you. The long green bar represents x. It's gray in your case. So the long one is x, yellow is the positive 1, red is a negative 1. I want to use the distributive property to model with this visual this situation. 3 times 2x plus 5. That's when you need to go back to your elementary knowledge of what multiplication is. It's groups of, isn't it? 3 times 4 is 3 groups of 4. You agree with that? 4 times 5, 4 groups of 5. So 3 times this means 3 groups of 2x and 5. So I want to find 2 x's and a 5 3 times. 2 x's and a 5. 1, 2, 3. That would be the right one. Okay. Well, they're actually both kind of the right one. And then they just combine them. But let's do one together. 4 times x minus 3. You make a key. So I'm going to make a long rectangle be the x. And I'm going to make my circle be -1 and an uncolored circle is 1. There's my little key. So this means 4 groups of x minus 3. 4 groups of x minus 3. So I want to make x minus 3. That would be 1x. And then this is a -3. So I want 3 negatives. So it would be colored in circle, colored in circle, colored in circle. That's one group. How many groups do I have? 4. So then I would clone this. 2 groups, 3 groups. Can you do that on your paper?
I did it before you.
4 groups.
Okay.
Okay. And there's my 4 groups of x minus 3. That's your agenda with the models, that you can take the distributive and use your knowledge that multiplication means groups of. Okay, our last learning target for today is distributing a negative, and that tends to be the tricky part for 7th grade. Distributing a negative, what I'm going to tell you to do is turn all minus to plus a negative. That's what you're going to want to do. And if there's a negative in front, it's a little 1 that needs to come out. Okay? Pay attention. So notice, negative in front is really a little 1 that needs to come out because you're distributing a negative 1. So I'm going to turn all of these into plus a negative if I have to. And then go ahead and distribute. So it's sticking to the parentheses, that represents distribution. I need to multiply. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Plus, because the plus comes down. Yep. Negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. So my final answer is negative x plus 3. Yep. Okay, push through. We got 3 more left. Negative 1 times negative x plus 12. Distributing my negative. Negative 1 times negative x is just a positive x. Plus, negative 1 times 12 is a negative 12, which is x minus 12. Make sure you turn, if it's plus a negative in the end, turn it back to subtraction. 2 more. Negative 4 times negative 3x plus 4. Distributing my negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 3 is a positive 12x plus negative 4 times 4 is a negative 16.
Yeah.
But then I need to turn it back into 12x minus 16. Okay, last one. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12x plus negative 2 times negative 8 is a positive 16. And I am done. Notice I cannot combine any of those because they're not alike. They don't have the same variable connected to it.